All right, the influences behind the song World. So I think the biggest influence of this song should be pretty obvious. Like the song before it, Esquire, I wrote the song while I was on a Black Sabbath kick. So I pulled from a lot of their move sets. I think that comes out pretty heavily in like the tone of the song. So it's a heavy, distortion-laden song. It's got that slow, deep groove that a stoner rock band or like Sabbath would be well known for. It's a lot of riff based as well. So listening to like the intro, in the interludes, you hear a lot of those like droning E notes, and then the riffs that are very much associated with like Tony Iommi and other stoner bands. Essentially, when I was writing the song, I wanted to make my variant of War Pigs. Really long song, heavy, but also wanted to incorporate an element of psychedelia as well. And so when I was recording the verse, I told Omar to basically make it sound like Planet Caravan a little bit. Almost like it's underwater. So he cranked up the chorus, cranked up the reverb. I think he threw some echo on there as well. And then actually, I think there were some presets in there that were literally like labeled Planet Caravan. So the vocals came out really trippy, really spacey, and gave it this really, out there vibe. Apart from Sabbath, there were some other bands that I think had an effect on it as well, particularly in the solo and like the production phase as well. So for the solo, we mapped out this really long, somewhat free-form kind of solo, and we wanted to build an intensity as it continued on. And we recorded the main sort of backbone of that, but it was kind of empty. So Omar actually came and he's like, "Hey, have you heard of this band? Old school band, Thin Lizzy?" And I'd heard the name, hadn't really listened to any music, and he's like, "They do a really good job of layering different variants of guitar over one another to kind of give it this, almost chorus-like effect." So we listened to a little bit of that, decided to incorporate that into the solo as well. So if you take a listen to some of the solo portions of it, there are multiple guitars just layered on, use different harmonies for it as well, and I think the effect came out pretty nice. The other band that had a pretty significant influence on like the production was Panopticon. I hadn't heard of this band. Omar was really into them. Omar's my producer, by the way, and so he's like, "Dude, take a listen. They are doom, ambient, with like bluegrass roots." And so we did. We listened to them, and they do a great job of like sort of submerging a heavy metal song into an ambient sort of background. And so that really informed a lot about how we approached the mixing and the mastering process after recording. So yeah, effect turned out really well. It's heavy, it's trippy. Sounds like you're kicking down a door.